Okay, so first I'm going to do a little introduction so people will know what's on this tape. Okay. My name is Deanda, Mr. Morris Lee Hogan, here at the John G. Historical in Gallipolis, Ohio, for the African American presence in the Ohio River Valley project on July 19th, 2007. So I'm going to ask you questions, and if you can just say, like if I say what is your full name, my full name is, because my voice is going to be cut out of the final tape. So just answering complete sentences. So I'm going to start with a really easy question. What is your full name, and please spell it?
Morris Lee Hogan. ORRISLEEHOGAN.
What is your date and place of birth?
April 13th, 1936.
And your place of birth?
Gallipolis, Ohio.
Were you born at home or in a hospital?
At home.
Don't forget to answer in complete sentences. So I was born
Okay.
at home. What do you consider your family's ethnic or racial background to be?
African American and a little bit of Irish, a little bit of Indian.
What are the names of your parents?
Goldie May, maiden name Steve, and Harold Peter Hogan.
Do you know when they were born? When was your mother born?
Oh, you shouldn't have asked me that. I cannot answer that.
Do you know where she was born?
She was born in Campaign, little place below Porter, Ohio.
How about your father? Do you know when he was born?
No, not offhand, no.
Do you know where he was born?
He was born at a little place outside of Gallipolis, about 6 miles. It's not established as a village or anything, it's just like farmland.
How did your family come to Ohio? Do you know when they came to Ohio or how they came to Ohio?
Well, the only one I really know anything about is my great-great-grandmother. I understood that she came from Virginia and crossed the river down by the park, which there's an underground railroad marker down there. And I understand that that's where I was told by her daughter that she crossed the river there when she's a little girl.
And where did you hear this story?
From my great-grandmother.
What is your spouse's name?
Janet Hogan.
And what's her maiden name?
Ayers.
Where was she born?
Little place called Black Fork, Ohio, and the suburb would be I can't think of the name, the little hill. No, not Polk Pass. Help me with this. What's Niner Hill and the other one? The other hill?
Fort Hill?
Fort Hill, right. She was born on Fort Hill. Right.
How did you meet your wife?
Well, I think I met her in Black Fork. I would run around with all us boys. Whoever had a car, we'd gang up in the cars and just go out of Gallipolis looking for the girls. So we heard there was a lot of good-looking girls out in Black Fork, so we'd go out to Black Fork and ride around and go to the churches, and that's how I found her.
And where were you living at the time when you met her?
Gallipolis.
So how far is that? How far did you go to find a
Oh, that's about 30 miles from Gallipolis.
Where did you guys get married? What date and when? Where?
Oh my goodness. Oh gee. This is embarrassing. Um, 57. Now, if I'm wrong, I'll be killed. You know that.
We'll edit it out if it's not right.
Okay. Oh my goodness. We got married in Portsmouth by a preacher named Reverend Tubbs.
And was it a big wedding, a large wedding?
No,
Many people
just a
attended?
small, just a couple of friends went with us as witnesses.
What are the names of your children?
Jason, Perry, Hogan.
And when was he born?
Oh my goodness, I can't. You should have rephrased me, reminded me I'm going to have to remember dates because I cannot remember dates. The you better edit this out. When you ask me dates, I got to have time. Look, I can't remember this
Okay,
stuff.
I won't ask you any more dates. Can you tell me a little bit about your schooling? Where did you go to school?
I went to Lincoln School, which is now shut down. It was the last segregated school in Gallipolis. Went there grade school, and I was in the last class to come out of Lincoln School.
And what year was that?
Here we go with dates again.
Oh. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Can you tell us a little bit what it was like going to Lincoln School, and how many years did you go to Lincoln for
Well,
grades?
8 years. And it was good. It was right there in the yard. Just cut back through the alley, and it was a school. And but we didn't have the facilities that other schools had in the area. So, and we went to 2 grades would be in each school. I thought that was unique because if you was in the first grade and you pay attention to what was going on in second grade, you was ready for the second grade when you passed on. And other than that, it was really a good time, good community school. And also one thing that I always remind a lot of people that in those days they had Bible school. All the churches in the area had Bible school in the school, which they can't do now.
What were the teachers? Were the teachers at this school predominantly African American or white, or what was the racial makeup of the
African American.
teachers? And after you went to Lincoln, where did you attend high school?
Gay Academy.
What's the name of the school?
Gay Academy.
Oh, okay. And what year, do you remember what year you graduated from high school by any chance?
Yeah.
What year did you graduate?
54. 54.
What is your occupation?
I was a millwright, retired.
Can you explain a little bit about your career, what you did?
Well, I started off as labor at the Kaiser Aluminum. Then I went into pipe fitter. I was a pipe fitter. Then went to school and become a millwright, which consists of being a pipe fitter, welding, mechanic, and a little bit of electrician.
When you got out of high school, how difficult was it to find employment for people of color in this area?
Well, it was very difficult, very difficult. I'll tell you a little thing that maybe I shouldn't say this, but you can edit it out later if you want, wish, but there wasn't really much industry in the area anyway, but I worked at a furniture store while I was in school called Empire Furniture right up the street. And after I graduated from high school, well, I was the last of my family. There's 4 boys, and my parents wanted me to stay around here because all the rest of them left. You had to leave to get a job. So I hung around, so I still worked in the furniture store, and then I went to GDC and worked in the power plant for about 3 months, then I went up to Kaiser Aluminum. But one of the problems around here, like a lot of places at that time, and this is inside information, that the Gallipolis Chamber of Commerce told the power plant, which was Kagger Creek at the time, do not hire any blacks. because they needed people to do the menial work in this town. And so that was one of the reasons why you didn't have people hired up there for many years. But after many years, the things changed and a lot of people got up there. But when it was first built, that actually happened.
Were there other incidents of discrimination that you remember experiencing growing up here in Gallipolis?
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. I was on a tour. I took some people on a tour down the Aero Theater. And I showed them where they have the balcony. Okay, I showed them actually the same seat that I would always like to sit in because I went regular, whenever I get a dime. And it was in the balcony over on the right side where you had to sit, and it was at that time. And then I remember that, you can edit this, I'm gonna tell you a little story that you can edit, but it was comical. You always had to sit up in the balcony on the right side. There were some ornery boys that would go down to the rail and take pop, they get pop of water and pour it over the rail. Then they'd act like they're zipping their pants up. You asked for it.
Were there any other incidents besides the movie theater? How were other facilities, like skating rinks?
Well, now, we had a skating rink, and you went on a certain night.
Do you remember what night that was?
No, I don't. I'm trying to think about it. It was a certain night. But,
How about in restaurants and different other facilities like that? Were black people readily accepted, or?
no. And that even there was just a few places you can go in, but not too many. And there's several that you could go in, maybe order food. Now this is in the early days. You could order the food and take it out, but you couldn't stay there and eat it. And then some of them you couldn't even go in. But I had experience that stuck in my mind when I was in service, wearing the uniform. I was in Virginia, and there was a group of us, there was six guys, there's 2 blacks, 4 whites. We went into a restaurant, and I wasn't thinking at the time, this was in the 60s, early 60, the year 60. And we went in and everybody ordered. Well, the guy bought the 2, myself and the other black friend, in brown paper bags, and said, you guys have to take yours out. And I never thought anything about it until then. And we all had uniforms on. And so the other guys with us says, no, says they'll eat here. Well, we ain't eating. And we had government vouchers. See, so I said, avoid the trouble, let's just leave. So we just left the food on the thing left. And that almost caused us to get in jail, probably because they got mad because they fixed the food and we wouldn't take it. So, but also in high school, I can remember we had choirs. The high school was integrated, but you had separate choirs. You had a black choir called the Dept choir, and but now your sports was integrated. And that generally, you got along good. There's a lot of good people that helped you out, and just same thing on the job. As far as race relationship, black, white, yellow, whatever, you have good people and bad people.
What part of town did most blacks live in who lived in Gallipolis? Was there a certain section of town that blacks lived in, or were they integrated within the community?
No, they were definitely most above above Spruce Street to Olive Street, from 4th Street to 3rd Street. 95% of them were there in that area, in those 2 blocks.
You talked a little bit about serving in the military. What branch did you serve in?
I was in the Army.
For how long were you?
2 years.
Now, did you serve during any conflict or war?
No, I didn't.
And when did you join the military? Do you?
59.
So right after high school?
No. I was drafted. About 4 years later.
did your family earn a living growing up? What did your father do?
Well, that's interesting. Well, when I was 12 years old, and I was youngest of three brothers, 12 years old, I was on the side of a house painting and cutting grass, making my own money, most of it buying my own clothes. And so my dad worked at what at that time was GSI, and he worked shift work. So if he went to work in the afternoon, we worked from about 7 o'clock to about 11:30, give him time to go from one job to the other. But we would be painting houses in the summer. Now, in the winter, we butchered. Now, we would go out. Now, I say we, I didn't do a whole lot because I was the smallest one. But they would go out to the farmers and shoot a hog, put him on a running board of the old Willie's car, had running boards on his side, haul him to town in the backyard on 4th Avenue. He had a platform built, and we'd scald the hog and scrape the hair off of him, butcher him, cut him down in two sides, and haul him back out to the farmers. And that actually went on for years. And it would be comical to see the old Willies coming into town with two hogs on each fender. And also, outside of the painting and butchering the hogs, we hung wallpaper. Now this was the whole family did these things to make a living. Plus he worked at GDC on his shift work. And that's how we survived. This wasn't much money.
And how about your mother? Where was she employed?
She was not employed. Her biggest job was trying to keep us straight.
Growing up, what kinds of foods did you eat?
Beans, potatoes, spaghetti, and anything off the hog that the farmer didn't want to keep. This is the truth. Now, in the early days, the farmers would give they butcher, and we would butcher a hog for $3 at that time. $3, big money. But they would give you the pigtail, the pig ears, pig feet, sometime liver. We didn't keep the chillins. Now we couldn't handle the chillins. Nope. But they would give you all the different things. I can remember my mother, well, even a hog head, making hog cheese, scrapple, and things like that out the hog head. And like in those days, my dad always said you ate everything but the squeal. But then later days, things start changing. I guess times got harder. And we noticed that more and more the farmers kept everything. And because I remember my dad would make had a big crock or open mouth jug, and he'd keep enough pig feet till he got a bunch of them, and he'd pickle them and have that jug, and we'd go in there and steal them after we thought it was ready. And that's what they call the good old days, but I don't know.
So was most of the food that you ate in your house purchased or grown?
I say half and half.
How about plumbing and electricity?
Well, as I can remember, for a long time, we lived right in the city on 4th Avenue. We had an outside bathroom. Well, in those days, toilets. And I can remember taking a bath in the big tub, galvanized tub. And sometime after my other three brothers got through with them, same water. And that was it.
How about electricity?
Electricity we did have electricity, but we probably just had one circuit or two at the most. So you had to be careful. See, in those days you didn't have many appliances even to hook up, so you didn't have to have too many circuits.
How about clothing? Was the clothing that your family wore purchased or made at home?
Well, at one time, when I went into high school as a freshman, I was considered one of the best dressed. But nobody knew that all of her clothes come from my grandmother bought them from the Epling family, who she worked for, had 4 big boys, all of them our age or bigger. And they were wealthy. And that's where all of our clothes, most of our clothes come from. And I bought my first suit when I graduated from grade school with my money. And I'll never forget, because I think that, I still today think it was made out of gunny sacks. That's what it looked like.
Do you remember where you purchased the suit from? Where did you purchase the suit?
Haskin Tanners.
Where was that?
Haskin Tanners down in Gallipolis.
And how did you earn the money? You said you bought it with your own money. How did
Cut.
you earn that money?
Well, Dad would give us so much for help painting and whatever we did, and I made pretty good money cutting grass on the side too.
Talk about what are some of the games you played growing up, or some of the things you guys did for fun growing up?
Cowboys and robbers. That's where we would make our rubber guns and shoot each other. And we used bean posts for horses. And cowboys and robbers, or cowboys and Indians. That was our main game.
You just mentioned you made toys. Can you tell a little bit about making toys? How did you determine what toys you made?
Well, I got into the toy making through I was asked to do a program for a Black History program one time. So I thought about all the toys that I had made when I was a kid coming up. And so I thought about the times that my mother and dad would take us downtown at Christmas time and look in the window, and I see all these toys, and I would like to have this, like to have that. But we were only allowed one toy for Christmas. The rest of it had to be closed. So during my years, I would walk downtown also on my own sometime when I'd sneak away and look in the windows and come back home. I'd get me some scrap wood around here or there, and I'd make what I wanted, what I seen in the window. So through all the years, I've made little trucks that would turn, rubber guns, rubber pistols, and rifles, and I can get in more details with the rubber guns as I did a while ago. But I also made scooters, and we made a thing that we call struggle buggy. I don't know how the name called struggle. I guess it's called a struggle buggy because the guy behind you had to struggle to push it all over town. And so that's how all my toys really come about. And I really had a good collection. I still got some of them, but some of them got broke up. But
how did you first learn about slavery growing up?
well, I say deep down in the lower grades of grade school, maybe even before that.
Now, what were you taught about slavery in school?
Well, actually, being taught was, as I can remember, it wasn't too much at all. But I do remember one thing that stuck in my mind in high school. I had a teacher that would always refer to African Americans as descendants of ex-slaves. She would at that time we would call ourselves Negroes or blacks, but she would never use the word Negroes or blacks. She'd always say descendants of the ex-slaves, and that always stuck in my mind. And it almost got me kicked out of school too, because I got tired of it, and I went to the principal, and of course he went on her side, and it cost me a lot of problems. I never did get any good grades in her class after that. Although I knew I was doing well, but she just wouldn't give me the grades.
Now, what did you learn from your family growing up? Did your family ever discuss slavery, and if so, what did they talk about?
Well, they never really discussed it too much that I can recall, but they can always go back and talk about the early days of how things used to be in this area. And like I say, my great-grandmother talked about her mother coming over as a free slave, how she come into Ohio. And I was well aware of slavery, but I can't remember being taught too much about it. And in high school, that was the integrated school, and you definitely wasn't taught anything much at all there.
How about the Underground Railroad? What are some stories that you heard growing up about the Underground Railroad, or did you hear stories about that?
Well, not until I've got in the Underground Railroad since I've been here with Miss Casey and Miss Scott and the rest of them, and that's where I learned most about the Underground Railroad.
What are some sites in Gallipolis associated with the Underground Railroad?
Well, you have John G., you have, I need help. What's the one down by the park? What's that called? You should be interviewing Miss Scott for this part.
How about you, growing up, did you guys know about Poke Patch being involved in the Underground Railroad? You said you went there for fun.
Well,
Did you know about
I went to Poke Patch. I had friends live down there. My wife's cousin lived down there, but I never knew anything about the Underground Railroad, any connection until recent years.
Just a few last questions. What kinds of illnesses did family members experience growing up? Do you remember?
Had the whooping cough every year. And that, really no serious problems.
How were, like, if you had a cold,
Oh.
if you had the whooping cough, how were you guys treated? Like, what types of things? Home remedies, or did you go to the doctor?
Doctors, never heard of them in those days. Now we had Dr. Brown come to the door. He'd come to the house when we wanted, but he did have office at downtown. He had an office, but he was still one of the few doctors when I was growing up that he made his rounds at the houses if you were sick enough not to come to his office. But illnesses, I don't know, common colds and measles and the mumps, and that was it till you got real old.
And how did your mom have special home remedies to treat those things? What were you given when you had a
Vic
cold?
Salve.
What was it?
Vic Salve.
And what did she do with that?
Rub. Excuse me. She would rub your chest when you get whooping cough and coughing real bad. She'd rub your chest with it, which actually made it worse. And now I've known my dad to take what they call a hot toddy.
What's that?
Hot toddy is, I think, a little alcohol with lemon or lime or something like that in it, or maybe tea. They use different things.
Now, how about some illnesses now that you see going around the community in older adults? How about diabetes?
Well, in the recent years, I found out that that's just a common thing. Everybody has it now, including myself. High blood pressure, diabetes, especially after you get on Medicare, you have all these things.
So do you think that people really have them, or are you saying that you think Medicare facilitates?
A little bit of both, but I think what they're trying to do is have prevention. That's the main thing now. If your sugar levels elevate a little, they'll put you on, give you a kit to make sure you can check on it. And if you check on it, you're going to try to keep them getting worse.
And what do you think are some of the reasons for the high rate of diabetes in this region? Do you know why you think perhaps you have diabetes, or do you think it's connected to something in the lifestyle, or?
I would say lifestyle, not getting enough exercise and proper food.
Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you'd like to add that you know about this area that you think is important for people to know about the history of this area?
Not, I can't think of anything right off the moment. I'm sure I could later.
Okay. Well, do you know anybody that you would think that we should interview for this project that most is knowledgeable that's not here today?
Yeah, well, I know somebody that's, no, not anyone particular that's not here, but you sure have a couple here that could do a lot better than I did.
Well, you did a very good job, and thank you very much.
Thank you.